Liftoff! You're watching Spaceflight Now, the Ares 1X test flight.
Jack King, I was just talking about you. I just took a tour at the visitor complex this weekend and had some folks with me. And what was interesting is we're sitting there watching the Saturn video, and lo and behold, I hear Jack King's voice. And why was that? Because you were announcing, Jack, the Apollo missions.
That's correct. Well, that started with Gemini 3, actually, with Ed White's first
wow,
spacewalk.
no kidding.
But I had done scores of the unmanned launches going
Yeah.
back to 1960. Of course, the one I always remember was a crazy project called Echo. It was a giant balloon
right,
that
yeah.
we put up in 1960. I did the countdown for that. The first one was a failure. The second one worked. The excitement was going out in the backyard and watching Echo go
Right,
over. This is back
that
in
was a big,
1960.
do you remember how
we
big that
put
thing
that
was?
up. Yeah.
What was your favorite Apollo mission, if you had one? The launch countdown, at least.
Apollo 4, the first unmanned launch of the Saturn V. We had no idea what to expect. We had been out here during the construction of this whole area, recalling looking at when they were building the crawlaway. It looked like the Panama Canal when they first dug it out, going down to the launch pad, putting on till they put all the river rock in there and everything else. So I was right here right from the start. In fact, I wrote the first news release stating that NASA was going to acquire the 90,000 acres out here. That was when we were still operating on the Cape, of course. But Apollo 4 was the one that is the best memory for me. We had anticipated this giant rocket, and we didn't know what to expect along any means. All the major attention, of course, had been on Apollo, and the toughest part of the program was when, of course, we lost Grissom, White, and Chaffee. That was in January of '67.
Yeah.
And that reached our low point, obviously, and the Apollo spacecraft was essentially put out of business for about a year and a half while they tore it apart and put it back together. But lo and behold, about 10 months later, after the Apollo fire, we were ready to launch the first Saturn V out here. And we issued ear protection to all the news guys out here, not knowing what to expect. And I was operating in the Launch Control Center. We were in firing room 1, and we counted it down, and everything clicked off beautifully. I counted it down fine. And then I'm in the back row at the control center. I looked over my shoulder and saw this magnificent thing still sitting on the launch pad. It's just bathing in fire. And finally it lifted off, and the sound hit us.
Yeah.
Now, we had prepared for that. We'd done all kinds of tests and everything else. But when it hit us that particular time, the windows in the Launch Control Center just started to rattle.
Wow.
And then on top of that, it was a newly constructed building, and all of this material, all this dust came down from the ceiling. I thought the whole damn place was going to come down on us at the time. But that was a very special. There were many special ones, of course, and obviously Apollo 11. But I go back, the very first one that probably had the most effect on me was Alan Shepard's launch.
Yeah.
The first time.
Where were you
even
for
though it was
that?
a 15-minute launch. Pardon?
Where were you for that?
Oh, at the Cape.
were at the Cape?
Yeah. We had a press site. We had a press site at the Cape, and that's where we operated for that. Where the old Mission Control Center was for Mercury. I don't know if you recall that or not. Well, the press site was right there in front of that, and that's the one closest one to Pad B.
Right.
What was it like seeing, you were part of these early rocket launches, and now to turn around and you've got a rocket again launching? What's it like to go back to rockets?
Well, it's a new generation. There's no question about it. We're going to have to see what transpires from here.
Take a look at that. Jack, turn to the side there a little bit. See who that is? Do you recognize that man?
I guess that's
you!
I can't see it. No, I can't see it.
It's Jack King.
Well, how about that?
That's you from the Apollo 12, I believe. The launch. You were the launch announcer in
Oh, is
Apollo
that-
12.
yeah.
I believe that is a picture from you. During
Oh yeah,
Apollo 12.
that's the photo that was taken. That's been used quite often. Particularly, it happens sort of every 5 years or so when they have an anniversary that
You get a photo taken?
harken back. No, but that photo is used.
And what is it like looking back at this program? Being, you're still active in the program. You can't give space up.
No, well, that's right. And I feel I'm still making a contribution. And I say these days, these guys keep me young out here, and so I'm still enjoying it.
when you get to see the new generations of rocket, I'd imagine that's a little inspiring, because you're somebody, unlike some of the shuttle engineers who may have been here, 20, 30 years, you've been here a lot longer. You've been here longer than most.
Oh yeah, yeah, definitely.
You've seen
And I've just seen
every
it grow.
generation of the space program.
That's right. Starting off with the Jupiter C and going all the way up to the Saturn V and the shuttle, and now getting into this new program, Constellation.
Let's go to NASA TV video while we're talking here, because you'll see two of the vehicles that Jack has seen as he's worked out here. Both the Ares 1X. Dylan, if we can switch to that, we'll do that in just a moment here. But you can see the Ares 1X launch complex, as well as the Space Shuttle launch complex. A lot has changed out here, though, in the years that you've been here.
Sure.
You've had different workforces, a lot of the same workers. You switch between different contractors as they change. But what are some of the biggest differences between the program then, when you started it, the manned program in the early days, and now? From your perspective?
Well, I'm not going to be critical of anything today. What I can say is that certainly in Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo, we had outstanding leadership and outstanding management. When you look at the Von Braun team up in Huntsville, you look at Bob Gilruth, Chris Kraft, and his folks out there in Houston, and you look at Kurt Debus and the whole team here, combined with some great leadership out of NASA headquarters, the several administrators who were just outstanding at that particular time, as far as working with Congress as well as the administration. Of course, what we got was the big boost, of course, when President Kennedy came out and said, let's land astronauts on the moon before the end of the decade. That was, what, 1961, I guess.
What was the mood like around here for you right then?
Well, the mood was, we were amazed, we were aghast. We're going to do this.
You had to do it. You're the, wait a minute.
Exactly
not just
right.
amazed, but we better get to work.
That's exactly right, and that was the attitude. And then everything started to fall into place. You say there's a lot of things different out here, but there's a lot of things the same. There's the VAB, there's the launch pads. It's the same thing. We adapted them for the shuttle program, and now we're adapting them for the Constellation program. So some things still remain the same, even though people change and everything else.
You've seen quite a few of those people change. You're still working alongside the United Space Alliance. You're working along with people who processed both this Ares 1X and the Space Shuttle.
Oh, sure.
You're an OSB-1, right? That's a nearby office, operational support building 1.
I'm an OSB-2 now.
OSB-2,
Yeah.
you moved.
Yeah.
It's a very fancy building that he's moved
Yeah.
to, where they actually make the go, no-go decision for shuttle flights. How's it over there in the big glass building?
Oh, it's fine. I missed I liked building 1 as well, though. That's sort of where all the action was. You, of course, as you said, you have the FRRs and the flight readiness meetings for over in building 2, and of course that's a major event at the particular time. But I'm enjoying it.
Well, Jack, last thoughts. You think it will go today? What's your gut tell you?
Well, that's the reason I came over. I
Just wanted to find
I
out.
had my office, and I figured everybody needed some help, so I figured I'd come over and see if we could make it go.
Excellent.
Hey, great.
Thank you, Jack. We
My
really
pleasure.
appreciate coming
Yeah,
out.
appreciate it, Jack.
Nice to talk to you,
meet
folks.
Appreciate
yeah.
your years of hard work in the space program. With that, we're just going to go back to NASA TV while we wait a now 11 a.m. liftoff time.